Welcome back to No Smoke Sports, where we break down everything sports, from game previews to betting trends. You can go check out a full list of our articles at sharpshq.com. Again, that's sharpshq.com.
Can the Georgia Bulldogs repeat as SEC champions in 2025? After a heart-pounding, triumphant 2024 season, winning the SEC championship in overtime and making another college football playoff run, expectations in Athens are sky high. But with a new quarterback, a brutal schedule, and the SEC looking tougher than ever, the road ahead is anything but easy. Today, we're breaking down Georgia's entire 2025 schedule, the key matchups, the biggest storylines, and what it'll take for the Dogs to defend their crown. Let's start with the schedule itself. Georgia's 2025 slate is packed with challenges, featuring new conference foes like Texas, the return of classic SEC rivals, and some pivotal non-conference games. Here's how it all lines up. The Dogs open the season at home on August 30th against Marshall. It's a solid FBS opponent, but Georgia should handle business comfortably. The following week, they host Austin Peay, a game where we'll likely see the starters get some rest and the backups get valuable reps. But things get real in Week 3. On September 13th, Georgia travels to Knoxville to face Tennessee in their SEC opener. The last time these teams met in Knoxville, Georgia snapped the Vols' home dominance in a thrilling 2022 win. This year, a victory would set a confident tone for the season, while a loss would immediately test the Dogs' resilience. After a bye week, Georgia returns home for a massive showdown with Alabama on September 27th. This is more than just a game. It's a continuation of one of college football's most compelling rivalries. Last year, Alabama handed Georgia a 41-34 loss, and you can bet Kirby Smart has had this one circled on the calendar. The Dogs also have a 31-game win streak at Sanford Stadium on the line, adding even more drama to this primetime matchup. The challenges keep coming. On October 4th, Georgia hosts Kentucky, and a week later, they hit the road for the Deep South's oldest rivalry against Auburn. Dating back to 1892, this rivalry is always intense, and Auburn will be looking to make a statement at home. For Georgia, smooth quarterback play in a hostile environment will be crucial. Mid-October brings Ole Miss to Athens, followed by another strategic bye week. Then, on November 1st, it's the annual neutral site clash with Florida in Jacksonville, a game that's always unpredictable and loaded with playoff implications. The Dogs then travel to Mississippi State on November 8th before returning home for a historic first-ever SEC meeting with Texas on November 15th. Georgia bested Texas twice in 2024, but this time the stakes are even higher. The quarterback showdown, Arch Manning for Texas versus Gunnar Stockton for Georgia, could define the momentum heading into the season's final stretch. Georgia wraps up the regular season with a home game against Charlotte and the traditional rivalry game at Georgia Tech in Atlanta. While the Tech game may not always have playoff stakes, it's vital for building momentum heading into the postseason. So, just how tough is Georgia's 2025 schedule? According to College Football News, it's tied for the 10th hardest conference slate in the nation, with opponents combining for an 87-67 record last year. ESPN's Football Power Index ranks it as the 8th most difficult schedule in the country, and 8 SEC teams are in the top 16 hardest schedules nationwide. While Georgia's non-conference slate is relatively soft, the road games at Tennessee, Auburn, and Mississippi State, plus high-impact home games against Alabama and Texas, make this one of the most challenging schedules in college football. Now, let's talk about the roster and player dynamics. The biggest change? Quarterback. With Carson Beck transferring out, the Dogs hand the keys to Gunnar Stockton. Stockton showed flashes of brilliance last year, especially in the SEC title game and the playoff against Notre Dame, but he's still untested over a full season. Former Georgia star David Pollack has predicted Stockton will outperform Beck, and if he can stabilize the offense, Georgia's ceiling is sky high. Stockton won't be alone. The return of key receivers like Noah Thomas and transfer standout Zachariah Branch from Texas A&M should bolster the passing game. Tight ends and running backs will also need to step up to fill the void left by Beck's departure and keep the offense humming. On defense, Georgia remains elite. Defensive coordinator Glenn Schumann continues to anchor a unit that's been the program's trademark under Kirby Smart. With the offense in transition, defensive consistency will be more important than ever, especially in tight games against top-tier SEC opponents. So, what's the best-case scenario for Georgia in 2025? The Dogs go 12-0 or 11-1. Stockton blossoms at quarterback, they dominate at home, and survive those early road tests. That path puts Georgia firmly in contention to repeat as SEC champs and make another playoff run. But what about the worst case? The offense struggles, Stockton has trouble away from Sanford Stadium, and Georgia drops key games at Tennessee, Auburn, or against Texas and Alabama. In that scenario, the Dogs could lose their grip on the SEC crown and risk missing the playoff if the margins get tight. What do the odds makers and experts say? FanDuel lists Georgia at plus 370 to win the SEC, behind Texas and tied with Alabama. Most analysts expect Georgia to reach the SEC title game, even with questions at quarterback, thanks to their home field advantage and dominant defense. Game-by-game projections from 247 Sports estimate a 10-2 season, with losses to Auburn and Georgia Tech, but still enough to secure a spot in the SEC finals. So what's the final verdict? And Georgia's home-heavy schedule gives them a clear roadmap to repeat. But uncertainties at quarterback and brutal road environments mean there's no margin for error. If Gunnar Stockton can solidify his role and the defense continues to dominate, Georgia has a realistic path to a second straight SEC title and another playoff berth. But a few slip-ups and a sluggish offense could derail the Dogs' ambitions. The 2025 Georgia Bulldogs season hinges on key matchups, especially Alabama, Texas, and Tennessee, and how well Stockton and the offense evolve. Early road games will test their adaptability, but with a historically strong defense, home advantage, and continuity under Kirby Smart, Georgia is well positioned to chase another SEC championship. For fans, it's shaping up to be a thrilling ride. What do you think? Can Georgia repeat as SEC champs, or will the gauntlet of the 2025 schedule prove too much? Drop your predictions in the comments. Hit that like button if you're ready for another season of Dogs football, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth previews and analysis. Thanks for watching, and go Dogs!